So, what was your question?
Does a lack of belief constitute a belief in itself? Because it is within the same realm of beliefs. It is something, even if it's something that you don't believe, it's, as he said, still a belief based claim.
I definitely don't agree. It's like having something, Julie. For example, money. Either you have money in your pocket or you don't have money, right? When you say, I don't have something, it doesn't mean you have something. It's not having, right? And to me, belief is the same.
Okay.
Either you believe or you don't believe. Either you have a belief or you don't have a belief. So when
Mhm.
you don't have something, that doesn't mean you do. Is it
Yeah, if
clear?
we're just thinking about it, yeah, if we're just thinking about it as a verb, then yeah, I would agree. Like having and not having is not the same thing. Believing and not believing is definitely not the same thing. But
Yeah.
when it comes to this specific word, like believe,
Mm-hmm.
I think that since it is not in, it's not something tangible, but it's something related to the position that you hold uh, about certain idea. It kind of resembles a belief in a way, because
Resembles a
even if it's
belief.
not a positive, yeah, even if it's not a positive claim, like saying I believe God doesn't exist, that's definitely a belief.
Yeah.
But if you just say I don't believe a God exists, it is a it is a different belief, isn't it?
It sounds like a belief. I understand the frustration when people hear that phrase. I totally understand how it sounds to them. I understand it, but think about the claim. Let's say God exists. This statement is either true or false, right?
Yeah,
So, is there any other option here?
I think that's a true dichotomy.
Yeah. So, when it comes to belief, either you believe this statement is true or you don't believe that the statement is true. Any other option here?
No, I think that's it.
But let's suppose the negative side of the statement. So, a God exists, again, the same statement. Either you believe it's false or you don't believe it's false.
Yeah,
And
and it's not contradictory.
so people ignore one of them, and that makes them feel like, oh, wait, this sounds like a belief, not lack of a belief.
Hmm.
Because when it comes to either it's true or false, well, I don't know. That's why I cannot hold a belief that it's true, and I cannot hold a belief that it's false at the same time. Well, when it comes to saying I don't believe it's true, that doesn't mean I believe it's false.
Sure, it's not the same thing. In the case of this particular subject, let's say the God claim, you did say that you are leaning towards not holding a positive belief, maybe, but leaning closer to saying that God may not exist more than saying that God may exist.
Oh, you're
Like,
talking about the answer
it's
that
not
I
50-50.
gave to Jomana.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you would say that you're 50-50, right? At least.
It's a very slow process. Very slow process. And right now, I cannot even say 50-50.
Yeah, well, in my case, it's a lot stronger. I would say that I'm not convinced, of course, I cannot claim knowledge, but I definitely don't feel like I have a reason to believe that a God may exist. So, just the same way that I say I don't believe that fairies exist or dragons exist, I also don't believe that God exists. But I think that that's still a belief, right?
When you say you don't believe,
Yeah.
like we were just explaining this, as I said, it sounds like a belief, but technically to me, it's not a belief. It's just lack of one belief or lack of belief in a statement, which is, for example, dragons exist. You may
Hmm.
say, I believe there are no dragons, okay? Yeah, that's a belief. But
Hmm.
when you say, I
Yeah,
don't
it's a
hold
positive
such a
claim.
belief, I'm not believing, I don't believe, yeah, it sounds like it's a belief. And that's why like the guy was so confused. To him it
Yeah,
sounds
but
like a
the
belief.
problem that he was trying to equate the word believe with, oh wait, he was mistaking belief with atheism in general or theism. So he said, so you're a believer. And even if we admit that maybe a lack of belief constitutes a belief somehow, you can't say then, therefore, you're not an atheist. Because that's like a true dichotomy. You're either an atheist or a theist, and just because you may believe that God doesn't exist, it doesn't mean that you're a theist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you
he
may
was not
hold
able
a
to
belief.
say,
Yeah.
like, you see, he was diverting from that position, and then who am I? Oh, you're a believer, but believer of what?
Yeah.
So I believe that there's no God. Like, even if you think like that, then you should call me an atheist, because that's like the way that you define atheism. Because it's again, like, I'm not choosing that definition. I understand that there's such a definition, and that's hard atheism, the person who believes that there's no God. Okay. But to me,
Yeah.
there are other definitions too, which is soft atheism, the person who doesn't believe a God exists, or the person who is not convinced that a God exists, the person who's not holding the belief that a God exists. But again, they're kind of different than actively believing that there is no God. They're different. This is atheism to me, because if the person cannot say, I believe a God exists, to me, he doesn't believe a God exists, because
Yeah,
no
you're
third
either a
option.
theist or an atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a dichotomy. Yeah. That was a weird thing to claim, that you have a belief in God not existing, therefore you believe in God. I guess that was.
Yeah, you believe in something, but then what's that thing? The only purpose is not
Yeah.
exchanging knowledge. The only purpose was just to attack, to find gaps, okay, in your, let's say, semantic knowledge or your
Yeah.
position or whatever. Like, just find a crack and just try to push all your body in that crack, like whatever the, consequences. Like, he doesn't care. And that's what he was trying to do. And when we jump into the God conversation, luckily we did it, because mostly these people are just
Yeah.
very protective about their position, because they don't want to be attacked by, their positions. They're so arrogant about their knowledge and positions, but when it comes to investigating, no, then you become the person who doesn't understand, then you become the stupid one, and etc.
Yeah.
When he's holding a belief, when he doesn't need to, elaborate like everything that he says. For example, all powerful. I didn't ask. Like, I could corner him by asking, what does it mean that? What does it mean that? What does it mean that? But it's useless, right? If you want to learn something
Mhm.
honestly, then you just listen and learn, right? But
Listen.
if you every time
Hmm.
say, oh, what does it mean, cause? And that's the, part that you start just dodging. You're afraid of uh, understanding other, possibilities. Let's say that was our topic, right? What are the options for the existence of a universe? Like, to him, the best one is his God, his Muslim God. Okay, no
Hmm.
problem. And that can be the case. And when it comes to his analogy, the cat analogy, he thinks that his case is like the cat. There's only one cat in the room, and that's the best explanation for why the um, bottle is on the ground, right? The scenario is not like the cat scenario when we look at the universe, right?
No.
And we have cats and we have other animals when we investigate more. We have a lot of options out there. Not only one cat. We have many cats. We have non cats, non animals too. Or when we dig into his belief, which he gives us an answer, which is something exists with no cause and necessary existence. That's what he said, right? About his God. And necessary
Hmm.
existence, which means independent and doesn't have a cause. Okay, no problem. I take it
Convenient.
also.
Yeah.
I take it also. I'm so open.
Yeah, you
And
are too much.
take it. Let's take it. Okay. That's another option too. So there is a bottle of water on the ground, and we don't see any cause that caused that thing to fall down from the table. Okay, no
Hmm.
problem. We don't see such things, but anyway, no problem. If you bring it, I'll take it. And he doesn't even talk about this possibility for the existence of this universe, which is the universe exists and there's no cause for it. The universe is the necessary
Hmm.
existence, but he's not into.
That's why when I think that maybe you missed, or maybe you were trying to avoid that conversation. But when you mentioned no cause, and
Hmm.
he said, okay, so then magic.
Huh, yeah.
I was I was I was kind of expecting you to say, well, you're fine with not having a cause for your god, so your god is also something that came out of magic. Because that's the biggest inconsistent that they have. Like they're okay with their cause not having any of the properties that they demand from the universe. And that doesn't make any sense. And then you have to show why this is the case, why your cause gets to not have a cause.
Anyway, like, and I can imagine the conversation that he had with Rumi because he was saying that you're not a Muslim. Luckily, I was not in that conversation because it would be too boring for me. A Muslim blames another Muslim for not being a Muslim. That's crazy insane.
They do that all the time. So it's the same thing about the universe. If this thing doesn't conform to what I believe is the complete and absolute truth, then you don't get a room of a wiggle room. You just have to be completely dogmatic about it. If you think about this differently, then you don't belong to the same group. Like when he asked you for an example and you said humans, and then he didn't accept the example because he wanted the example to be a non-entity.
Non-sentient, yeah, that's
Why?
what he said.
Yeah, why?
Ah, why?
Why does it
Because
have to conform?
that's the thing to escape from the possibilities. Anyway, it's okay.